I just got finished helping out this 13-year-old who DM'd me, letting me know that he was addicted to pornography. And when I asked him what caused him to be addicted, he didn't know. And I just responded saying that your new life is going to cost you your old one. And we get this in Matthew chapter 16, verse 25 through 26. And it says, "For whoever desires to save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. For what profit is it to a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul?" And I thought this was perfect. I thought it was perfect just to bring it up. The fact that we're going to have to lose something to be able to gain what we want. Our old selves must die. We have to die to our old selves to be able to step into the new. Anyone who tries to hold on to their old selves cannot step into the new experience, cannot step into the new expression, cannot step, honestly, if we just go biblical, can I just go biblical with y'all? You can't take your old sins into the new places that God is trying to take you, or that God is trying to bring you to. You have to leave that old baggage behind, because it's just going to weigh you down where God is trying to elevate you. You can't do what God has called you to do. You can't step up. You can't step up to the plate if you have things holding you back. And if not for you, for this 13-year-old who may see this video, hopefully I share the link to them so he can see this. But I just want to let you know that not only are you inspiration, but you're also encouragement to me. Because I remember when I used to be in your shoes and I didn't understand why or how was I ever going to get through this. I didn't even understand how I got here in the first place, but it led me to the realization of reading that verse and knowing that I couldn't hold on to who I used to be and become who I'm trying to be. One thing had to give. Either you have to give up who you're trying to become, or you have to let go of who you used to be. But in the end, your new life is always going to cost you your old one. You have to be willing to do things that you've never done to be able to have things that you've never had. And that's all cool different ways to say it, but truthfully is letting go the previous version of yourself so you can step into the new experience, so that you can begin to feel free as you're expressing yourself. The same way that that young man doesn't even know why he's chained to it, doesn't even know what caused the addiction. It's the same thing when we go to our own lives and we see why we don't even understand why this is so difficult for us to do. Right? In any version of the expression it is, if it's studying for school, if it's taking the test, if it's starting the business, if it's applying for the new job, if it's just reading your Bible and you don't know why it's so difficult for you to do that thing, you have to understand that the new life is always going to cost you the old one. The old version of yourself must die for you to step into the new life. And I love it because I love how Jesus phrases it. He says that what profits a man? What is the profit to a man? Get to it real quick. He says, for what profit is it to a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? Man. What profit is it to a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? I look at that in so many different ways, but that's just going back to just conforming. That goes back to just no longer choosing you, but something outside of yourself to imitate. That we're willing to let go of who we are so that we can obtain the world. And in the same message that I sent him, I said, we both understand that the world cannot satisfy us. But we keep going to the world expecting comfort instead of going to God for the cure. And just like the world attempts to satisfy us, it tries to do what it can, but we know that satisfaction, that's the word I'm looking for. Satisfaction is temporary. It's here today, gone tomorrow. But what God has for us is sustainment. He wants to sustain you. He wants to give you something everlasting. You already know that you have outgrown who you are. So it's almost like a snake trying to shed its skin. It's uncomfortable, but the growth is already there. You just have to be willing to step into the new version of yourself. But for you to step into the new version of yourself, you have to shed off who you used to be. Because that old version of you can't go to the new places that you're meant to go. It's just as simple as that. It's just as simple as that. For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. If we just for a second stop trying to live for us and start trying to live for the reason why we're here in the first place, our greater purpose, our greater reasoning of life, the one who gave us life in the first place, then we will start understanding more and more and more as he starts revealing more and more and more that it's not about us. Your life isn't even for you. You're just the vessel of it. But it takes you. It takes you, but it's not for you. That's why it always feels better to give than to receive, if your heart posture is in the right place. And I love it because it says, for whoever desires to save his life will lose it. As an automatic, if you try to save your life, you lose it. If you try to live your life for you, similar, I would say that 13-year-old boy has probably been suffering for a little bit, right? But he no longer wants to just live for himself anymore. He's seeking help. Ask yourself, how long have you been in this place of discomfort, needing to seek help, but you haven't yet? And then ask yourself, why haven't you asked for help? And it's probably a heart posture thing. It's probably something wrong here, because your ego is getting in the way of your help. We have to ask ourselves the bigger questions. We have to ask ourselves, why? Why am I going through this? Why am I addicted to living in discomfort? Why am I addicted to living in dysfunction? Why am I addicted to not doing the things that I said I was going to do? Why do I like lying to me? Why do I like letting myself down? Why am I so afraid of letting go of the old me when I already knew that the new me is here and now? Just as I said earlier and a couple of days ago that you have to free yourself from yourself, you also have to let your old self go. You have to let your old self go. Your old actions will imprison you to your old experiences. It will never allow you to be present in where you are now, here and now. And Jesus says it here. If we don't believe anything I'm saying, that's honestly fine. But believe the Lord, believe your Lord and Savior. But he says that for whoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Let go of who you used to be so that you can become the one that God has always meant for you to be. For what profit is it to a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? See, I think this is the difference between the self-improvement space and all these different things. I'm not trying to tell you that you should become a multimillionaire and do anything you can to get it. I'm not here to give you morning routines and all these different things. I'm not even here to motivate you to start your 6-figure, 7-figure business. I'm not here for that. What I'm here to let you know is that you can get all of that stuff and still be empty. That you can get all that stuff and still hate yourself. You can get all that stuff and still feel like none of this stuff satisfies you. That none of this stuff matters. Because the world is temporary. So the feelings that it gives is related in that regard. The world is temporary, so the things that it gives is related in that regard. It can't give you anything else sustaining because itself isn't sustaining. But when you start living for the one who is, when you start living for the one who's the Alpha and the Omega, here before the beginning even was the beginning, the one who spoke everything into life and found it very good with that he created it, when you start living for him, then you save your life. Oh man, God math is so funny. It's so amazing that the one who tries to keep it is the one who loses it, but the one who is willing to give it is the one who saves it. And then you have to ask yourself, what will a man give in exchange for his own soul? What will you give in exchange for your own soul? When you realize that there's nothing on this earth that's worth your soul, worth an eternity of damnation, worth anything else than going and living with glory. Do you realize that you're in the blessing right now? You realize that there's nothing much more than you really need if you can be happy where you are now. Yes, that new life is there. It's going to be there. It's going to be there. You have no choice but to advance to it or hold yourself back. Because there's always a flip of a coin. You can either live in your personal hell or your heaven. You get to decide. But just like I told that 13-year-old boy, I tell you right now that your new life is going to cost you your old one. I appreciate everyone who is still here. I appreciate you if you're watching to the end of this video. That 13-year-old boy has done something just so amazing to me. And even though his situation breaks my heart, the fact that he's willing to ask for help, changes everything. Being willing to step out of your own way, because a lot of times we block what God is trying to do for us. We block the help. We block the blessings because we think that we can do it all on our own. Do yourself a favor and seek the help that you need. Do yourself a favor and seek the guidance that you need. And I'll even add this one thing. It's been in all of the description, but I haven't said it yet. But if you're looking for a community where you can grow closer to God and still be on your own personal journey in your relationship with him, things that are going to encourage you, but also keep you rooted in the word, in the actual truth, then I have a link in the description. It's a free community where we have Bible studies on Sundays, and other people, we just constantly have communication. And on Mondays, we even have journaling, worship, things that are more centered closer to this. So if that's something that you want to be a part of, then feel free to join. And regardless if you do or you don't, I appreciate you being here. And if you like these videos, please like them and share them with everybody else. And if you don't, well, it's okay, because I do. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Love.